Brilliant, Gina. Thanks a lot for your time joining the TRX podcast. I really, really appreciate it. For those of the listeners that don't necessarily know who you are or what you were about, would you mind just quickly introducing yourself, a little bit about your background, and then we'll go straight into the conversation today?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Looking forward to this. But my name is Gina Vales. Um, I am turning 36 next week. I own a fitness studio in Connecticut, USA. And here at our gym, we offer group fitness classes, personal training, small group training, athletic training, and TRX is just a big part of that. And all of our type of training that we offer here. Um, I kind of like grew up in fitness. My dad is a fitness entrepreneur and I've been playing sports my whole life. So really started with athletics and sports at a very young age and just really got into fitness. I love doing what I do every day. I'm very passionate about helping other people and changing lives for the better. I do a ton of personal training here in studio, and then I also do some online stuff as well. People who can't come to my studio who I can reach from afar.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you also mentioned before the recording, and obviously it's noted on your Instagram that you're a Lyme warrior as well. Do you just want to go into a little bit of detail about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so in 2017, I got really sick. Um, and I actually went 1 year undiagnosed, and it took like about a year for me to find out that I actually had Lyme disease. So that year, it was a very, very long year, with no answers and going from doctor to doctor to doctor. And then finally in 2018, I got diagnosed with Lyme disease and some co-infections. And then from there, I started treatment and it's been a little battle. But right now, 2024, this is the best I've felt since, having Lyme disease. So really at this point, I've gone through a lot and I'll share my journey with all of you. But managing it day to day is just what I try to do now. And it's been a long road, but I am at a really good spot right now with my health. So people can manage it and get to that point. So there is hope out there for people who have Lyme, even if it might take, a longer road than you expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that with us, Gina. In terms of fitness and obviously the diagnosis of Lyme disease, how has that impacted your approach to fitness and training, like before and obviously now up to this point?
Yeah. So, growing up, I was a very high competitive athlete. So, since I was like 4 years old, I was always playing three sports. I went to boarding school. I played three sports. I played two college sports.
Yeah,
So, sports was everything. So it was kind of like, I was always working hard and going hard all the time. Never really having much of a break being a two sport, three sport athlete,
yeah,
obviously. Um, so before Lyme disease, I could go hard, hard, hard and get away with not having too much of a break. But once I got sick, I really, really had to change my workouts a lot. Things just didn't feel right. They didn't feel the same. And it was almost like a trial and error. I had to literally just try everything
yeah.
and find out what worked for my body with what was going on with my body. So it was a lot of trial and error. And obviously, I had to bring my intensity down a lot.
Yeah.
And like being a really high competitive, like Team USA, two sport athlete, like you have to really bring that down a notch. And that was like a very hard part mentally.
Yeah.
Um, because when it's engraved in your head, like, you gotta do the best and like be your best and everything. And for me to kind of be like, Gina, you are going to have to change your workouts and bring it down a notch. That was like really hard actually for me. So just from that experience of getting diagnosed with Lyme disease, I had to do the trial and error. And I came up with this hybrid program that I actually perform now till this day.
Yeah.
And then also at my gym with a lot of athletes and a lot of people. And it's worked for me.
Right.
So yeah, so that's kind of how I train right now is like a hybrid style, like a mix of functional training using TRX bands and all that stuff, and all the training tools from TRX. But I also do a little athletic performance in there, a little bit of
Right.
running, and a little bit of bodybuilding. So for me, I would say not too much of one thing. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was going to ask, is there a form of training that you used to be able to do that you can't really do anymore? Not necessarily in terms of
Yeah.
the intensity as such, but
Yeah.
kind of the programmings that you were doing. Has that had to
Yeah.
change as well?
Yeah, so it's funny. So, and I used to be running used to be a huge part of my life, long distance.
Yeah,
Like I would run miles on miles and then, go have my intervals at the track and stuff. That has had to change drastically for me. It was just too much on my body for my body to take. So I really have cut that down a lot. Like if I'm gonna go run now, it's like 2 to 3 miles, I'm good instead of running 10 miles or something. So
yeah.
definitely like the cardiovascular stuff, like running, I definitely had to adapt to that new style. So that definitely changed a lot for me.
Yeah. Has there been times in that fitness journey where you've tried to push it and then it hasn't worked? What's the
Yes.
feeling after in terms of the recovery, in terms of how you feel
Yeah.
mentally or physically as well?
Yeah, I think too, like, and I think this goes for all athletes, like whether you are a college athlete, a high school athlete, a NBA player, NFL player. I just think as an athlete, you have that mindset is like, oh, like, okay, I have an injury, but I'll get better and I can go do it again.
Yeah,
So I kind of, in the beginning, I had that. I was like, I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to go be able to go out and run 8 miles and then go do that. And there were times where I did try in the beginning
yeah.
and it just threw me back so hard. Whereas I was getting like almost like I would make progress and then it push me back and then
Right.
I'd make
Okay.
progress and push me back. So I it was kind of like a learning experience with myself and I just had to really like read my body and learn more body awareness and be like, okay, you are pushing it a little bit. Like you don't have your 20-year-old body that's healthy isn't the same as, now at 28, I think I was when I got diagnosed with this disease in my body. So definitely a hard thing to do, but I think over time you start to see that pattern when you try to go back and you go hard and then you get pushed back. So
Yeah.
it did take me a few times, but it set in with me eventually, and then I just adapted.
Is that created in a sense then some mental toughness in a sense that, you can find other ways of achieving, goals? It may not be the same as what you did, as an athlete, let's say,
Yeah.
but there are other perspectives to look at and other ways to train to keep, mentally focused, but also physically focused as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, so for me personally, in my experience, what this whole Lyme disease and with fitness helped me is actually made me take a step away from myself and wanted to help others. So because, I couldn't train like I used to, I'll do a little bit of training and obviously, and I need to be healthy and I need to move my body and stuff, but how can I help others? So I really took a step back kind of for myself and, really opened up my eyes with my gym and helping other people who are going through Lyme disease and mental health and all that, and just giving back to them and helping them. And it's honestly more rewarding than anything.
Yeah.
When you see other people, when you help other people and you see them overcome, obstacles and progress in life, there's nothing better than that feeling. So I think this happens to athletes in general though. Like, someone who plays in the NBA and then they're just done one day, right? With sports, they kind of have like an identity
Yeah.
like crisis in a way. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they're like, who am I without this basketball, And I kind of went through that. I'm like, well, who am I without sports and like being a crazy athlete? And it just made me take a step back and be like, well, I'm more than that. So I kind of took all of that and like really have helped people. And that's way more rewarding, honestly.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's fantastic. Did that in a way lead you to doing what you do now with your own studio? You've got your team of coaches, or was that something that you always wanted to do anyway as part of your career?
So in the beginning, so I started my gym. I was 24. So I'll be 36 next week, but I was
Happy
24.
birthday, by the way, for
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank
Yeah.
you. But I know it's crazy. I'm like 12 years ago. Wow. Um, so I was 24 and that's pretty young to like start your
Yeah.
own gym and stuff. So I think, I was young enough to kind of like open my gym, and like you have energy when you're 24 and you want to go, 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 go when you open up your business. But now that, I'm going to be 36, like over the past couple of years, like just our business model has changed a lot, so in a good way. But I think too, as you grow, you learn a lot about business and everything. So I think, opening my gym was something I always wanted to do, but it's also changed a lot since I had Lyme disease, just
Yeah.
because of all the everything I've learned from it. So, and like that's about, I can't do everything on my own. So hiring coaches and all that, and just building a team and a community.
Yeah, that's really good. You talked about your training and how you've applied that now to the programs that you delivered for your clients. And you mentioned, functional training, TRX training, which we'll talk a little
Mhm.
bit more about,
Mhm.
athletics and bodybuilding. So from your perspective, how do you kind of blend these different approaches to training to make, more of a cohesive training program for your clients?
Yeah, so what I think this goes with experience too. So
Yeah,
not everyone that comes into a gym is per se. I think everyone's an athlete, but not everyone has played sports in their life,
sure.
So you have to kind of be open-minded and be like, okay, this person might is not just coming in to be more is just coming in for sports performance. They're coming in to feel better. They want to come in and feel better when they leave, when they come here. They want a smile on their face. They want to get a good sweat, obviously, and they just want to feel rewarded. So I think just through trial and error, what I noticed when I started training people is I would do like a little bit of everything, just like a
Yeah,
little. And then if people wanted specifically, like if I had a true athlete who needed that training for a sport, then that's what we're doing. But for just the general population, I learned that they get bored quickly, and they like a little bit of everything. So
yeah,
maybe they like hopping on the TRX to do some body weight stuff, but then guess what? Maybe they wanted to grab some kettlebells for some unconventional training. And then maybe they wanted to, add in a little bit of speed work, or if they can't. So it's just they felt best when I did a little bit of everything and made it like a cohesive program like that.
yeah,
And I would test it on myself though too.
yeah,
So um, you know, I think, there's something for everyone out there. Not everyone is going to be, that hybrid athlete or that hybrid workout. Some people just like spinning and they're going to go spin.
sure.
But I think you get benefits of everything of both worlds, and you can really kind of like see how far your body can go. You're like, wow, I can do like strength training, but I also can do some endurance stuff, and I can also do this. Like it's like motivating, and it keeps you wanting to come back. So not just getting burnt out with one specific thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. I think especially now, strength training is getting more and more prominent, especially for
Mhm.
females.
Yeah.
Also, the importance of cardio and as well. It's about
Yeah.
having that hybrid and doing a bit of everything instead of just sticking to one thing. And it seems that you were ahead of the curve in a lot of
Yeah.
ways to get people to try different things, add a bit of variety, which overall will be
Mhm.
beneficial to their
Oh yeah.
body physically and mentally overall, right?
Yeah. No, 100%. And like obviously, like you just said, we know strength training is important. We know skeletal muscle is important for health, but also we need cardiovascular. Like that's just proven health. Like I think the number one leading cause of death is heart disease. So,
Yeah,
we need cardiovascular for many reasons, blood flow, everything, heart health and all that. So, I think everyone can benefit from strength training and adding that little touch of cardiovascular.
absolutely. Yeah. And recovery, the side of recovery is getting more and more popular now in all
Yeah.
different areas. So how are you approaching recovery from, what you used to do as an athlete, to when you've been diagnosed with Lyme disease to now applying it to your clients as well?
Yeah. So for myself, so I actually, so if you just wanted to go over kind of how I train and how my gym trains, I'm just going to use this as an example. So
Absolutely. Perfect.
we have training days here at the gym, and we have movement days here, which are a little more movement recovery days. So we're open 6 days a week here. Say we're 3 days for the group training classes, 3 to 4 days of strength training. Those other days are going to be a form of like a movement,
Yeah.
recovery base.
Brilliant.
So we make the program so you can actually come, 5 days a week if you wanted to, because it's not just train, 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 train. There's going to be a training, a recovery, a training, a recovery. So you're still moving, but you're not, and I say this all the time, you're not annihilating your body every day. You're
Yeah.
stimulating and you're recovering. So I do the same thing with my own workouts. So I have movement days and training days. So, like today, for instance, usually I get a workout in the morning. I'm just busy today. So, tonight is going to be a movement day for me. So, I'm just
Okay.
moving my body. The TRX actually is, I use a TRX a lot in a movement day just because you're getting mobility in there and you're getting stretching. And I just love it, body weight. So, maybe tomorrow, like say I have like a leg day, maybe I'm doing a little more training, like a trap bar deadlift or a landmine front squat or something, a little more intensity where my RP is a little higher. But then today, I'm just going to move my body, but not kill my body, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, totally makes sense, and it's good that you've got that balance, pretty much
Yeah.
on from my point of view anyway.
Yeah.
You mentioned TRX training, and obviously it's been a significant part of your training and obviously your coaching now. So can you just go into detail about what drew you to incorporate TRX into your own training first, but then, into your programs for your clients?
Yeah. So, because TRX and I go way back. So this was back in 2010, 2011. I just remember seeing these straps. And my dad is a business entrepreneur and he sells TRX too.
Okay.
Um, so I remember him talking about it one time. And then I went to a fitness show down in Florida at Ursa,
Yeah.
and TRX was becoming really big down there, and they had this whole big setup and everything. And Randy Hedrick was there, the founder, and I just like remember being drawn drawn to it because I was just like, wow, what a genius idea.
Yeah.
Like so simple but so versatile. And when I see a strap like that, I'm like, anyone can use this.
Yeah.
Like anyone from the general pop. So it's not like, like a machine where if you're completely limited with mobility and stuff, the TRX is truly for anyone. So I was really drawn to that, and I got certified right away after that show, for the rip trainer and the suspension trainer. And
Yeah.
that was when I actually opened my gym. That was the only thing I had in my gym was a A-frame. They used to make an A-frame like that. And I had 6 TRXs, and that's how I started. And
Brilliant.
that's literally all I did. And I was 24 at the time.
Yeah.
So it's really cool actually to look back at it because that was literally like my first love. And the TRX colors were black and yellow. And I was starting my business and I decided to name it Gina Soul Fitness, and I went with black and yellow because of TRX.
Yeah.
Now we're a different color now, but the
Yeah.
TRX, I give them a lot of credit because they really like kind of um molded like my passion for helping people and helping all people.
No, absolutely. Like as you mentioned, we're obviously going to be slightly biased here, but it's probably the most
Yeah.
versatile piece of equipment in the fitness industry,
Mhm.
and because you can use it literally in all different areas, but with all different people as well. And that's where I find that's where it also helps with the community. I feel as well because of it
Yeah.
being so versatile. It's like no one feels intimidated by us. No one feels intimidated to use the equipment, and they see people from all walks of life using the straps in particular. So I think, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Gina, in terms of how it's benefited yourself, but also then how you've utilized that then to build your community within your business as well, which is great.
Yeah, and like too, like as I'm just thinking about that, like when you think about it, what other piece of equipment, like say you're on the TRX right now, you can add a Y belt to the TRX.
Yeah,
You can, like you can add, like it's very, very versatile. And you can use different training tools. You can use a mini band in the TRX. So
yeah,
it's just really an overall great training tool. And I get every single one of my clients on a TRX, no matter what. So
brilliant, Gina, brilliant. You're quite active on social media, as I mentioned
yeah.
off recording. You've got quite a big following, and you incorporate TRX into a lot of your videos. So, Can you just go through your journey with social media, how you actually, got started? What was
Yeah.
the objective for it, and kind of, how it's grown over the years as well?
Yeah, so, it's social media. It's just it's like a funny thing. Um, I think so I started posting like a long time ago, probably in like that 2010,
Yeah.
2009 era. And I just remember like you don't know anything about social media. You just start posting. And I was just so passionate. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know. I just post today. But like I was just like, you know what? This is a cool workout or a cool move that someone can try to do. And I remember like TRX was my first videos. If I go back and I probably scrolled all the way down, I bet you TRX is like all my first
Yeah.
videos ever. I should try to find it actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and but yeah, like back then I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, I just set up my phone on a kettlebell, hit play and like would just, kind of I would do these actual movements for myself though. Like, yeah, obviously you want to like make things look cool, I guess, and whatnot, but like how could I challenge myself in different ways and how can I express myself on a piece of equipment like this because I have a creative brain, I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
So like expressing myself through exercise is kind of like part of me, I guess. So I do, I do train traditionally and I have a foundation, but I also like unconventional stuff too, where I try to expose myself to other types of training and, challenge myself, my body movements in different ways. So
Yeah.
I think the social media, I think one thing is like, you just need to be authentically you. And I think like, it is hard to not feel like an imposter sometimes, I think, when people start this journey.
Yeah.
So just going back, like I just post. Until this day, I don't know anything about posting. Till this day, I just
Really.
post. Swear, yep, I just post whatever. If I feel like I want people to see this or I want people to try this, I will just post. So, it's about consistency.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I have really done with all that. Is just being consistent as possible and obviously giving the best educational advice as possible. Um, because also and like being safe too, like people who are coming to pages and stuff, like yes, you want to show like cool moves and everything, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like you do want to be safe and like if someone actually goes and tries any of these moves, and sometimes I'll write advanced move, like, intermediate move, beginner move or whatnot. But I think social media, if anyone's gonna get anything out of this on this piece, it's just to be consistent and
Yeah.
be authentically you. But yeah, this is like back in 2010 and I just started posting every day and it just
Yeah.
kind of grew and it just grew. um will say like my business Gina Soul Fitness has been we're doing great right now and it's been a little hard on my part to balance both of them.
Sure.
um but I still and I've had to take a little break on my Gina Vales Fit on my social a little bit just because the gym's my baby and
Yeah.
you know being the owner and head trainer and just kind of everything looking over that has been my number one. So I do have some cool stuff coming for my social media on Gina Vales Fit, hopefully by fall. So I'm excited for that to reach more people,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think just just being you, being consistent is super important when it comes to social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you, in a way, has it helped your business not necessarily be more successful, but raise more awareness? Or is there a bit of a, not necessarily a myth, but a bit of a discourse between actually the amount of followers that you've got, the content that you're doing, and actually how that turning into revenue? I mean, what's your thoughts
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. So, I mean, and I can say from experience too. So, okay, when you have a gym, right? You own a gym, you're kind of you have a mile radius, kind of miles, right? Within where you live. So when we post on Gina Soul Fitness, we get that out in the that mile radius, people talk and that's a whole networking thing, it's a word of mouth that works.
Yeah.
That is huge. If you have a community, a smaller community especially, like word gets out, that is huge. I feel like social media online, is actually more difficult unless you go 100% all in. If you even want to hire a coach or a mentor or something, business coach or any of that. But I do feel like not that it's saturated and everyone's doing it, but everyone has their own style and everyone's different. But I feel like if that's the way you want to go too, it is going to be a little harder than actually having a brick and mortar in a way. Yes, you can reach more people. You have the ability to reach more people, but that doesn't mean your retention rate is going to be as good as if you have a brick and mortar. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I think that's an not necessarily an important message, but a message that I think a lot of, let's say, fitness people on social media
Yes.
expect. If they put a video out, they get a certain amount of followers.
Hmm.
People are going to want to book their PT, whether it's online or go
Yes.
to bricks and mortar. So I think that, like I say, there's a bit of a disjoint there in terms of
Mhm.
what the expectation is to actually the reality of it.
Yes.
And because you've got such a really good following,
Mhm.
it's interesting to get your perspective on things as
Yeah.
well.
And a lot of people always bring this up with me and like, yeah, I have 150 something thousand followers and stuff. And like people, I've always said like you can go like so far with that. And like I could if I went 100% all in. And I do an online thing and stuff. I have some more important priorities in my life right now, building a house. I just got engaged, just a lot of things going on right now.
Congratulations.
So
Yeah.
but when I these people say these things to me and I'm like, yeah, but right now it's just I love in life person.
Yeah.
And when you build we have such an amazing community here. It is such a family and there is nothing like people interacting with one another in person. And
Yeah.
that's why I was so sad I couldn't go to the summit because I know how awesome that would have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a difference, like, seeing it through a screen, even in, like, right now, I bet if I met you in person, like, it would feel different probably,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So there is, a discrepancy. I think there is a difference, but
Yeah.
if you wanna go online and you wanna push that and you think you're gonna do well, like, you gotta go all in and it's gonna be a lot of work, but just know that and, anyone can do that if that's what you wanna do. But I think people see these numbers, oh, they have 1 million followers, oh, they have a 500,000 followers. And it's like, okay, do those numbers really, what does that mean? You
Yeah.
know, like you have 1 million followers, but how many paid clients you're having and how many clients you have a relationship with and how many of those clients are signing up over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah. It's definitely, we could have a whole podcast episode on it, I think.
yeah,
So, but it's
yes,
it's good to get your input on it. From
yeah,
from coming out of social media for a little bit, in terms
yeah,
of the community that you've built, and I've always found this, as a previous trainer and now working for TRX, we obviously do a lot of summits as we talked about briefly. And for me, it is all about the community. I think you can only go so far with the quality of the programs and stuff like that. And that's important. But if you can't get the community right in making it open for people, then I think you're going to fail at some point. I mean, what's your view on that? Do you feel that no, actually, it's the programming side that I need to get actually spot on, and people will come anyway, regardless? Or do you feel that it's community, or do you feel it's obviously a little bit of both, but they're actually equal in terms of the importance of it?
So this is a great question, and I love this question. I think community is everything. I If you don't have a community, there's no point of having the nicest gym, the nicest of equipment, because you can have all that and honestly have nothing almost. So um clients here, people come here because of the community. Yes, I would say you obviously the trainers are part of the community. I'm part of the community. The workouts are part of it. But if you were to put them in order, community is by far number one.
Yeah.
People obviously come for our workouts because they are really good and stuff. But at the end of the day, what I feel like clientele are looking for to talk and smile and laugh with other people, feel good about themselves, feel better when they walk out than when they come in.
Yeah.
And what's going to make them feel best is how the trainers and how other people interact. And that I think is everything with fitness.
Absolutely.
So, how a community makes you feel can really kind of break or make if you're going to continue on this fitness journey. Because, say say I had a gym and I'm teaching and I'm not really like into training people and I'm just like sitting off to the side and this new client comes in, they probably aren't going to come back if I'm not into it, right? But if
Yeah.
I'm into it and I'm like making them feel better and there's someone else interacting and like everyone seems like up, the odds of them staying is going to be very high. And you just keep doing that. And anyone everyone always says this. They're like, you have an amazing community. You have truly built community. And yes, my name's in the gym, Gina's Total Fitness name, but I am not the brand. Gina's Total Fitness is more than that. It's the community and what we have built. And it's an amazing. So I think, I think community is definitely the top. And then obviously all those little pillars are
Yeah.
right below it. The workouts, how the equipment and all that and stuff. Cause you can have the coolest gym in the world. And if you still don't feel right in that gym, it's not going to mean much. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. I
that's
totally
just my
agree,
thought.
Gina, because I also feel that, you don't necessarily even have like the best gym in the world or the best
Yeah.
facilities in the world, or, sometimes, things get broken, things happen within facilities, as we
Hmm.
all know. But as long as you're providing a good community service and, people can still come and train and work out, they kind of overlook a lot of that stuff in a way because they feel part of something, feel part of a community.
Yeah.
So it's a really good point that you're mentioning, because I still feel, even to this day, and I've been, coaching as long as you have,
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily feel some gyms, not all gyms, but some
Yeah.
gyms and some trainers still don't understand that side of it in a lot of way, and they're trying to do the next flash in the pan thing or the next cool thing that's doing, and actually not focusing on actually what do your members actually want out of their
Exactly.
experience within the gym as well. So yeah, I just find it quite interesting, even to the day, that there's still
Yeah.
that kind of way of thinking.
Yeah, it's so true. And like, I had a couple clients come over here and they came from another gym and they came up to me and they were like, I just want to say thank you because you actually are paying attention to us and paying attention to our form. And like, everyone's so nice here and like everyone talks to everyone. And like, that right there says it all.
Yeah,
So, um, that's absolutely huge. So I 100% agree with you there. It's not about the coolest move or the coolest gym or the coolest equipment and stuff. And yes, obviously that can help having all those things. But
absolutely.
at the end of the day, is someone going to remember the experience they have, or are they going to remember that really nice turf that they had? So um, I think community is above kind of anything, community and experience.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. No, I totally agree with that, Gina. Let's go back in time a little bit. We talked to you briefly about, your free time, All-American lacrosse player and Team USA finalist. Can you just go through some of your memorable moments from that time in your life, that career, so to speak?
Yeah. So in college, so I played soccer and lacrosse, and
Yeah.
then I graduated. My senior year, I graduated. That's the year I tried out for Team USA.
Okay.
So that summer, that was the most insane training I have ever done in my entire life. Like, talk about the fittest of the fit.
Yeah.
Like, the training was absolutely unreal. And I'm a hustler. I love to train. I love to work hard and stuff. But I remember my coach saying, "This is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done." And I was like, "It won't be that bad." And then I just remember the first tryout, I was like, man, like
Yeah.
it was intense. And for Team USA, all the Division 3 and all of the Division 1 players do it together or in D2. So it's all mixed. So it's not
Okay.
just D3, D1, D2. That's how we do it here in USA. So it's all mixed together. So I went to a D3 college where I played two sports. So D1 is going to be a little more competitive, a little more intense. So because I wanted to play the two sport thing, I couldn't go D1 and play two sports. It's like very impossible to do almost,
Okay.
just because of the load of everything.
Yeah.
But so went to this tryout, and then I was the only D3 player to make it. And I was training a lot, and this is actually a perfect situation to talk about this right now. I only trained on the TRX grip trainer and the TRX suspension trainer.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and then I ran a ton because I had to do running and intervals and stuff.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, I would be in my parents' backyard. I remember wrapping my rip trainer around the deck, and I would just be going like lacrosse with the rip trainer and everything.
Yeah.
And I just remember training with that. But I ended up running a lot. And this is a huge learning experience. I overtrained.
Okay.
So when I was in the tryout, you know what plantar fasciitis is?
Yeah.
Okay, so on your foot. So I was running probably like, I mean, like 50 plus miles a week or something.
Wow. Okay.
And and my fascia, I woke up one day and I couldn't walk. And
Okay.
this was during my whole tryout and everything. And just being on the fields, like the ground unevenness, it just flared up my foot.
Mm.
And I did train a lot, maybe a little too hard, and I think I did overtrain on the running part. And my fascia, I had to go to the doctor, and he's like, Gina, I could give you a cortisone shot. He's like, but I'm telling you, like, you might rupture your fascia. And he was like, I'm like, well, I have to get this. Like, I'm on Team USA, and he's like, I know like how you are. He's like, but Gina, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not. It's just you're gonna rupture it.
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision, and I had to give up my spot for
Okay.
Team USA. Yeah.
How was
So
that for you?
yeah, so that was a huge life moment, like
Yeah.
turning point for me. It's like my dream, like kind of like my whole life. And um, but it kind of made me realize like, wow, I overtrained. Like I pushed it too much. I pushed it too much. And that there and having Lyme disease were probably the two moments where it's like, all right, Gina, you're an amazing athlete, but you need to know your limit. And there's a limit to that. So,
Yeah.
and I'm wired like that. My parents are wired like that. We're just like, we go, go, go. It's how we're wired. And, there's a lot of pros of that with sports and business and everything, but there are cons. And I think I truly look back now, I'm like, that all happened for a reason.
Yeah.
So, I remember crying. I remember being I got a little depressed,
Yeah.
and I remember feeling really, really depressed actually and really down. And I kind of just was like, well, what am I going to do with my life? Like, this has been my dream and everything. And it just made me kind of take a step away and kind of reevaluate my life and like where I wanted to go and how did this happen and how can I stop that from happening ever again in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
So
that in a way, Gina, pursue like your interest in, exercise science and going to do that degree?
yeah, so I tried out for Team USA. So I graduated and got my degree in exercise science, and then I did the Team USA thing, and then I decided, so after my injury, I had to give up my spot. So I actually decided to stay a year and coach. I was assistant lacrosse coach
Okay.
at my college. So
Great.
ended up, instead of going to play for Team USA, I actually stayed down in Virginia where I went to college, and I actually got to coach and be a assistant lacrosse coach.
Oh, brilliant. And how did you find the coaching side of it?
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely loved coaching. I loved being able like to have my experience and have those and like see the girls experience kind of what I experienced and help those girls, kind of because I went through those same experiences, but it's as a coach, you have to take yourself out of that player like
Yeah.
mindset, and it's a whole different role. Like
Yeah.
it is very weird at first, but I think this is part of growing up. And I started when I was an athlete and I was playing sports in college, I'd always be the athlete like who would train other girls off the field and like go work out with them and just like kind of be like a coach trainer in a way. Like I always had that. I always wanted to help people. Um, so I think, I always wanted to coach like in the back of my mind, and I wanted to help all these other girls like become better and have them experience that. So I love coaching. So I knew it was between coaching and kind of opening a gym and all that, and I got to experience both worlds honestly.
Yeah,
So
that's brilliant. You've mentioned mental health and you've gone through some moments in your life and in your journey where, you were very open and honest, which we're really grateful in terms of being a little bit depressed and then,
mhm,
finding the challenges to come back up. So
yeah,
from your side now, mental health is getting more and more important. People are more aware of it now, which is great.
yeah.
Um, how do you prioritize mental health now within your training, but also your coaching for your clients?
Yeah, I think environment has a huge thing to do with that too. just like having a community, because I think in times where, people are feeling anxious or depressed, or they have, everyone has traumatic events in their life, we tend to maybe isolate ourselves. And, I think that's where community could be a huge, huge help. So it's just like having our gym here, if someone's not feeling great, and I can kind of tell if someone's having an off day or anything, and I just try to like go out of my way to kind of like, hey, how you feeling? How you doing? And I think just honestly talking about it. And I know in this society today, like a lot of people, like we don't like to talk about our feelings. We don't like to talk about mental health. And like, obviously, especially I feel like yes, females have can get away with it a little more. And I feel like males don't have that in them to really
Very
talk so
true.
much, because you're raised, be strong, be a strong man, don't cry. Boys don't cry.
Yeah.
So whether you're female or male, I just think honestly the best thing is talking about it and finding a community that, you know, who is open to talking about it with you, and, being a part of that, and just having a support system that's going to be there for you. So I think that is huge. And I think gyms and, smaller boutique gyms and, friends and family can be a huge part of that. And especially like it happened during Lyme disease. I was in a really like deep, low place.
Yeah.
That's just like you are at a low, like being bedridden and not being able to get out of bed and stuff. Like your mind goes to like a dark place. And if it wasn't for my gym, I had to close my gym actually for a little while, because I was so sick. But if it wasn't for these guys, I don't know where I would be. Like my motivation kind of behind it was like all my people, like,
Yeah.
like all these people are checking up on me. How are you? Like my whole, like if I didn't have that and I was just alone, I feel like that would have been really tough. So I think community and environment is huge for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally, and again, we've touched on community a lot over the
Yeah.
conversation, and I just think, yeah, it's vital for all aspects. Fitness, rightly so, is up there in terms of the mental health and how fitness can help you with mental health. But I also feel that you need good people around you as often as possible and being
Mhm.
able to talk about it. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, Gina. In terms of Lyme disease itself, now there are some common misconceptions from the limited research, being totally honest with you, that I've done. Um, how do you work in terms of raising awareness and educate others about the condition? And what common misconceptions that have you come across over your journey?
Yeah, so because there's so much, it's Lyme disease. I don't, is it a thing over where you guys are?
Not as much, no, no, actually, no. Which I found not necessarily interesting, but I found quite surprising in a sense that it seems to be more over in the US more than this
Yeah.
side of the pond. Yeah,
I was just curious because I haven't heard much that like being in the UK or anything.
yeah,
So yeah, like so it was actually created here. In
okay,
where I live in Connecticut, it's called Lyme, Connecticut. So this is
right,
how
okay,
Lyme disease got the name. So it's like 35 minutes, 40 minutes from where I live actually.
okay,
So it's actually like it was made here. And so it's just widespread everywhere. It's like it's crazy. Like I will find ticks all over my dogs like every day. So
yeah,
like it's wild here. And there's a lot of misconceptions about this disease. So um we have a Western blot testing, it's called, where you like it's the Lyme test, but this is like such an old test. And there can be false positives, false negatives. Like people can just get tested and like you don't know what it's going to be. You can get tested and not have it and it can come out positive. It's not the greatest test. And I
yeah,
think that's what they're working on like
okay,
now, to truly get a better testing system out there, just because it's so you just don't know. It's not very accurate. And in my experience, mine was a little different because I did get tested um, for months and months and months, and mine came out negative, only to find out because we have Lyme specialists here.
okay,
So specialty doctors for Lyme disease. So that's until I went to a Lyme disease doctor, I didn't find my diagnosis.
okay,
Um, because they did different testing. It's called band testing, where they tested the bands, and then all my bands came out positive for like all these co-infections because
Right.
ticks carry different co-infections. That's why I was so sick. So you can get Lyme disease, just Lyme, or you can get Lyme disease with whatever the tick carries, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it's all
yeah,
these different infections. And that's why some people get really sick and some people don't get as sick. So
okay.
it's truly what that tick carries. And I actually found the tick on my neck, and it was probably like in my neck for a couple days. So
Really?
yeah, yeah, mine's like a crazy story because they gave me, I went to the walk-in here right away, and they gave me it's called doxycycline. Do you know what that is?
No, no.
Okay, so it's like to fight infections. So it's just like a protocol they give you.
Yeah.
So once they give you that though, it can knock your Lyme disease testing to be negative.
Okay.
Yeah, so when
Right.
I would get tested, that's why it kept coming out negative, 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 because I took that doxycycline right away. So it's almost like a it's like a catch 22 because
Yeah.
you can take that and then get tested and you have it and you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you take it, it could actually help depending on when it, because it said they say if you take that within 72 hours of getting bit, it could kill the infection.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
in a way then, because you've taken that that medication as
Yeah.
such, it kind of prolonged the disease within you, and that's kind of affected the long
Yes.
term. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes. So
Wow.
it's yeah, yeah. So when I went to the Lyme specialist, they tested all different type of bands, it's called, and that's how they knew I had it because those came out positive. So
Right.
that's how they knew.
And
Yep.
is that still, like you said, the testing, or hopefully it's going to improve. Is that still happening today then for a lot of people?
Yeah, so it's just a widespread, like, I mean, you hear Lyme disease all the time. And like, honestly, if a lot of people are sick and they live in New England, a lot of the times, like, it's probably going to be Lyme just because ticks are everywhere.
Right.
And especially if you have pets, they go on dogs, they go on cats. And if you
Yeah.
cuddle with your pet, they're going to get on you.
Yeah.
Um, but so, yeah, like it's just, they're, I think my doctor, who is a specialist, he's also an MD, but
Okay.
he works with Global Lyme Alliance, who is the it's the who I work with too. So I've done a lot of stuff with them, and they're trying to come up with cures, and they're trying to come up with all this different testing and stuff, but it's a tough, it's almost like cancer in a way where there's just so many unknowns. And I don't know like if how long it's going to take and stuff, but they are doing what they can. And because it's become such a crazy disease here, and like the more and more people are just getting it, I think it rises like every year. It's like 50% or higher, it increases. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's pretty insane here. And then there's obviously different strands, and like more is coming out and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty prevalent disease, unfortunately. And there's no cure for it right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, because obviously, as we said, we don't really see it over in the UK or in Europe.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but also, yeah, quite sad that a lot of people are going through that and not really knowing for a period
Yes.
of time as well, which is so
Yes. And
hope-
that's like one of the hardest things for not knowing. So like I was sick for a year, and not knowing can what drive you like crazy
yeah.
because there's no answers. I honestly, when I found out I had it, I felt like better because I had an answer. So
Okay.
I think the hardest part of when you're dealing with something like this is you don't have an answer, like what it is. So I know, research is trying to do its best to, figure out how to handle this, but and they'll like, more technology and stuff will come out obviously, but
Yeah. Sure.
yeah, so uh it's a very, if you look into it a little bit over in the UK and stuff, just it's just good to be aware.
Yeah,
Uh
absolutely, absolutely, Gina. And what we'll do for the show notes is add some, we'll do a bit of research ourselves, or
yeah.
if outside this recording, if you can apply any
Yeah.
potential links to websites, we're more than happy to stick it on the show notes so people can read up
Yeah.
about it, you know, just even just out of interest. But like you say, to hopefully raise more awareness, then
Hmm.
yeah, we'll be more than happy to do that. No problems at all there.
Yeah.
In terms of looking ahead now, what are your goals and aspirations in terms of your business, you know, your coaching career, but also as a Lyme warrior as well, to continue to raise awareness for the disease and obviously working on a cure, hopefully, that you've mentioned. What are
Yeah.
you looking for in the future?
I think, well, for me personally, my health is always my number one. So, just kind of being in tune with my body and listening to my body. If I need more rest, if I need, you know, a little more work, or just kind of being in tune with my body and listening personally. That's just for my goals. It's
Yeah.
just always kind of being grounded, and being, okay where I am. I'm a lot better at reading what my body needs, like now, rather than when I was like in a crazy athlete or whatnot. But so goals, obviously health is number one. um I think business is just keep this community as close as possible, and spreading health and wellness to my gym. We do a lot of nutrition stuff, and recovery stuff. So just try to give them as much guidance as possible, everyone that comes through the door here, and just, really emphasize how important how important movement is daily. And it doesn't mean you're going to have your best workout every day, but just to get to the gym and get moving and be around people, like I think that's just huge. And to I want people to be like, I want to go to the 4:30 class today. Like I want people to want that, because it will know, like they know how they're going to feel when they leave.
Yeah.
So just, emphasizing how important wellness and fitness is. So that's kind of like through business. And eventually I do want to expand a little.
Okay.
um I'm getting, it's getting a little small where I am right now, which is a good problem. But looking in the future, whether that's opening up a little bigger gym,
Yeah.
and adding a little more. I have that like entrepreneur business mind too. So,
Yeah.
um, it's in time, we'll get there when it's ready, but definitely just trying to be better in that regard, and trying to just, help as many people as possible. And then yeah, just like with the whole Lyme disease awareness, is I like right now it's Lyme disease month. So I actually have an event on May 18th here
Okay.
at the gym, and we do a Lyme disease event every year. We all wear green shirts, or I have like an online program right now. It's Immune Warrior, and we all wear these shirts, and then we have like music and food and drinks, and all donations go to the Global Lyme Alliance, who I
Brilliant.
pair up with. And it's just, we share our stories. There's a couple people who here have Lyme disease too, so people get to like hear their stories and like understand, wow, like this is a real disease and no joke. So just to bring awareness of that, like if you're walking your dogs, if you go in the woods, just check yourself. So I usually put like these posters up in my gym, and it just like, check
Yeah.
yourself, like whenever you go outside, because like right now this is the time they come out a lot right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they're out pretty much in 40-degree and higher weather.
Yeah.
But like when it gets hot, they are out full force.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, it's
this
good
is
that
like the time. Yeah.
yeah, it's good that you're raising awareness then for sure.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Gina, if people want to know more information about you, you know, where's the best places to go?
Yeah, so obviously social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I own a gym. It's Gina's Total Fitness. That's my social for my gym. And then Gina Vales Fit is my personal, and I post workouts on there every single day. So you can see TRX workouts there. I'm a dog lover. I post my dogs too. But I just try to like, I give my daily workouts. So I'll post actually what I do specifically every day. But yeah, so Gina's Total Fitness is going to be more of my gym. You can see my classes, my personal training clients, my transformations on that page. And then Gina Vales Fit is my other social, where that's more of my personal and like my daily.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks, Gina. We'll make sure again we put that in the show notes so people can go direct if they
Yeah.
if forget your tags on there. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. So, you know, it was a really interesting conversation. You know, you were very open. and raising awareness of Lyme disease. This is the first time that we've spoken face to face properly, even though it's via
Yeah.
computers. But I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure our listeners will as well. But yeah, I just want to wish you all the best with your career, and obviously your pursuit of helping people and raising awareness for Lyme disease, because I think it's more important now, especially now you've shared some more knowledge on it. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you very much, and wish you all the best for the future as well.
Yeah, thank you. This was a blast. I loved, just raising awareness and just talking to you. It was a pleasure meeting you from
Yeah.
a screen. But maybe, if you get over to the US, I would love to meet you in
Yeah, we'll have
person.
to do a summit together at some point, or I'll have to come
Yes,
to the facility for
for
a 2 hour
sure.
session, and we'll catch up. Yeah,
Yes, that'd be great. But yeah, and just to everyone out there, thank you for listening. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. And I just want to say a big thank you.
brilliant, Gina. Thank you very much.